All right, welcome to the second edition of Dirty Old Gamers. You know me and Richard Stanley. We've got Eric Burruel, we've got Terry Hodge back, and we've also got. You want to introduce yourself?
I'm Bunny from GlitchSlap, and I'm not a dirty old gamer. I'm a dirty young gamer.
Dirty all around. So she's going to be joining us today because we're going to be talking some pretty heavy topics later today in the show. Gamergate, not your shield, that kind of stuff. I want to make sure everybody's well represented on that. But to start off on happier things, we're going to talk like we always do about the stuff that happened this last week. And of course, for that, I'm going to turn it over to the beautiful Terry Hodge.
Well, thank you, Richard.
Let us know what's going on.
Well, in the past couple weeks, there have been some releases out for major consoles, next generation, current, and cross-platform. PS4 came out with an interesting title, their only title come out exclusively for PS4, Fluster Cluck. And Richard, can you elaborate a little bit on what Fluster Cluck is?
Yeah, absolutely. So we went to E3, as we tend to do, and played this beautiful game. Mostly we got in line for it because they were giving away these free attachments for your phone that allowed you to, play games as if you had a joystick. I would say that it was probably one of the dumbest games I've ever played. I have a hard time just coming out and saying that. The reason I say that is because when I tell you how the game worked, maybe you'll get that. But you basically played against three other opponents at the same time. I think maybe even some super cool online play was available where you played these fat little alien spaceships that you floated around and sucked up cows and chickens, and whoever sucked up the most amount of amalgamated flesh and turned them in for points later won. The controls were terrible. The constant mooing reminded me of the Calibur from Diablo 2, and around the whole, it wasn't great. The controls were terrible. We kind of were like, thanks, give me my controller. So that was kind of the end of that. So
kind of a clusterfuck.
It was kind of a clusterfuck. So good going, Sony.
Yeah,
this week,
I think they did what they set out to do.
This is, it was an independent studio, but that's what you had this week, Sony. It was Fluster Cluck. That's what you got. So.
Excellent gameplay from what I hear.
So good.
Fantastic. So, also on Xbox One, we had the release of Walking Dead Season 2 and Disney Fantasia Music Evolved for 360 as well. Is there any Dead Walking Season 1 fans in the room?
Cameraman's all over it.
I believe Eric's played some of those, right?
Yeah, I'm knee deep into the second episode, second season, I guess. Second episode of the second season, just played that. Just getting better and better.
So what's changed from Season 1 to Season 2? What can we look forward to in the second season?
You play as Clementine in the second season.
For those people who aren't familiar with the game, who's Clementine?
So in the first game, you start out as this character Lee, who is going to jail, and then the zombie apocalypse happens. I don't know, just like out of nowhere, like there was
Almost immediate.
Things happen, and then he shortly finds this little girl named Clementine, whose parents are clearly dead, but you go through the game trying to find them, and then things happen. Walking Dead stuff happens, a lot of drama.
So Last of Us?
Yeah.
Isn't it a little slower than The Last of Us?
Yeah.
A little bit slower, a little bit less kick-ass. Like, you're just like, oh.
So you're not in a jump shoot?
No, like, okay.
You're not going to be hung upside
You know,
down and have fun gameplay.
No, that would be awesome. No, it's more like drama. Like, whose side am I going to be?
Evil Within
Am I going to be on his side?
Yeah.
Am I going to be on the
A lot
other
of people
guy's
die
side?
if you're not quick on your feet.
And then in the second season, you play as Clementine, a little bit older. She kicks some serious ass now, and she's just got super attitude, and it's awesome. It's a lot of fun. But it's still very Walking Dead if you've seen the show at all. Like, groups, drama, human drama.
Let me take that bottle of water for you there, Gendo Ikari. Get that out of the way for you. Really know you need that.
I do have one question about the Season 2. The gameplay in Season 1 was kind of pick your own adventure gameplay where you run into things and it's kind of a lot of options out there. Has that improved or changed in any way? Is it still very much the same core gameplay are there any new features or anything to look forward to?
It's still the same core gameplay.
That's
I
good.
think Telltale knows what they're good at, and they stick with it.
All right, excellent.
Good observations.
Well, also for Xbox 360, FIFA 2014 just came out. I don't know if anyone's played any of the old FIFAs, but some of those were some of the best sports games around. I played one or two back in 2012. I've been out of it for a little while, but I'm sure the improvements are still there. I'm not a big sports game. Anybody sports game fans?
No.
Yeah.
As you can tell by our physique, we definitely started off playing sports in real life and said, you know what we should do? Take that into the virtual world. I love that. Love me some of that.
Well, now we're getting on to a very exciting game for Wii U. Bayonetta/Bayonetta 2 came out. They released the first one, which was in
Bayonetta back to the library, that kind of thing.
It was improved in some way. Bayonetta 1 for Wii, right?
Bayonetta,
Was
the
the exact
exam.
same.
I really haven't played Bayonetta for Wii U. I played it for the PS3 and loved it.
Loved it.
And
Loved it.
definitely gonna get Bayonetta 2. Final Fantasy 14 servers are going down for a full 24 hours, so I might sleep and watch the strip club.
So 4 hours of sleep, 8 hours of Bayonetta 2.
Yeah, and then preparing for next week's broadcast.
Okay.
So that's what it's gonna be.
You know whose servers ever go down for 24 hours? Blizzard.
Oh.
Ooh.
Do you know who makes like 60 million times more money and should probably spend more money on their development? Blizzard.
Fair
They only have
enough.
like 6
Hey,
games out, right?
it only took 10 years to make Diablo 3. Did you know that they make over $100 million a month? It's not going to the servers. Anyway.
So there were some PC releases as well. Let's see. Civ Beyond Earth came out. Spooky's House of Jump Scares. I've actually seen some of the gameplay for that. It looks pretty scary. Mythos: The Beginning came out. Robo Wars and Tesseract.
It's Tesseract.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Maybe people will buy it because I think it's related to other things that are called Tesseract or more important.
Dry comedy's the best.
There are also a couple of cross-platform titles like Shadow Warrior, Legend of Korra, Battlefield 4 Premium Edition, which just means you pay more for Battlefield 4 now.
Oh yeah, super into that one.
hmm Also, Need for Speed Rivals came out. I'm actually excited to play that. It was, I believe Criterion had a bit more hand in production of this one. Not as full on as they were for the last one, but I'm definitely a big Criterion fan. Nobody else? Okay, fair enough.
You know what you're talking about there, sir.
Is anybody excited about the After Earth civilization?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No? Really?
Yeah.
It looks pretty cool. It
Really
it
excited.
starts out like I've seen the like I don't know, the trailer or something like that. It starts on a real downer note. It's not like in Civilization where you're just like, okay, we conquered the Earth, let's move out into space. It's kind of like, the Earth's fucked, and now you gotta go
Oh.
somewhere else.
What was that Will Smith movie where he like went to another planet and they stated that it wasn't about Scientology?
Wally.
After
Is it called After?
After Earth.
Weird. Okay, because that's what I thought of.
A very not change the channel movie.
Yeah.
I would watch it. I've watched it. I was like, that's all right.
Civ Beyond Earth looked very much like that to me.
It's like you gotta not know fear.
That wasn't how his
No.
voice was. It was some kind of weird British
I don't think he
accent.
sounded like Batman.
Will Smith didn't seem like Will Smith in that movie. He wasn't funny.
He wasn't.
He was very serious.
He had that same.
Yeah.
He had the Orlando Bloom flame for like the whole
movie.
He was just like.
Orlando Bloom face.
So in every movie he ever does, and even in like the video games, like when you're watching Lord of the Rings, and he's like this, he's like. Like he's mystified and confused at everything at the exact same
He's
time.
so old.
And then when he gets serious, like when he's talking to a dwarf, and he goes, and that's the face that Will Smith had the entire time. Which is, yeah, one of the two
Amazing.
faces.
It's completely accurate.
I don't know if you're going to be able to figure out how. If you haven't, I want to talk about Shadow Warrior. We were going to try and queue up a video for it. I don't know that the cameraman knows how to do that. So I would go right now and Google Shadow Warrior trailer. It is the best thing I have seen in the past, like, 2 years or more. Did you see the trailer for that?
Is that the one where you're shooting and you're slicing?
Yes, shooting and slicing and like bad Asian accents. And, it's a 3D Realms game, so the second you know that it's a 3D Realms game, it's like kind of a spiritual Asian successor, if you will, to Duke Nukem. But go watch the trailer. I can't even do it justice. We have a couple other trailers we have queued up, but I couldn't get it in there. But I'm super stoked about Shadow Warrior. You cut things, you shoot things, you spin on things. You have good 80s music in there in the trailer. Just check that out. If anybody who's at least the age of 22 will find it good. Everybody over there probably should ask their parents. So.
Exactly. Right on.
Good idea.
She's 22. She's totally not 22.
Now on to fun for the whole family. Just Dance 2015 came out.
Oh man.
Which I don't know if you played it, but it involves dancing.
Wait, I'm not up on the
We're all
dance games. Is that the one where the guy's like all white on the screen and dancing, and you got to dance to it?
I
Or is
think
it
that
the
you
one
can actually
where-
change the color of the guy.
Yeah, you'd like them to be all white, wouldn't you, Aaron? They can be any color you want, kids. You can be fuchsia, magenta, if you want to. Cerulean.
Cerulean Just Dance is the best Just Dance.
It is. And now they have new songs, so go give it a shot.
Go get more songs.
Exactly.
Lady Gaga, and whatever else.
Whatever else.
You know that it's mostly like little kids and then like old fat white dudes who are in there like in like their whitey tighties, just being like, I'm totally working out. There's no cool people who play Just
Or
Dance.
like old, moms.
Old moms.
Like, I gotta get my cardio in.
Oh
Yeah.
god.
Could you one more time? How was that? Well, no, I want to hear that.
No,
one
get
more
out of
time.
here. Get out of here.
All right, moving on.
Moving right along. For the 3DS, Fantasy Life came out. I'm super pumped about Fantasy Life. By the way, that's not even a joke. It's from Level 5. They made Rogue Galaxy, Dark Cloud 1 and 2, or Dark Chronicle, if you know the actual name of it. They did Dragon Warrior 8. It's got Nobuo Uematsu doing the music again. He's the man. If I mispronounce his name, I'm sorry. I'm not Japanese.
He's watching.
But yeah,
I hope so.
If you have a 3DS and you like other Level 5 games, go check it out. They've just done a bunch of great stuff. I'm not going to go on for the next 6 years.
A lot of things.
They're awesome. Level 5 is my favorite, probably action RPG or RPG production house out there. Move over everybody else. Also, Pokemon Art Academy is coming out. That's going to be a lot of fun. There are now officially 3,000 Pokemon you can draw. I don't know if that's a
Pokemon Art
Draw? You draw them.
Oh yeah, you draw. And
Is it like
there's a
the
training.
Yeah, it's
involved.
like the movie Hard Candy.
It's like the movie Hard Candy. Pokemon Hard Candy?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's nothing
I
like
don't know anything about it.
nothing like
I
that.
don't
Isn't there
know.
101 of them?
That sounds like a porn. Pokemon.
That's the Japanese title. Actually.
That's like furries. Furries go at each other. They just put a bunch of furries in a room, all dressed up like Pokemon characters,
God.
and they just
Just to be
go on.
clear, no Pokemon fans right here.
I mean, I get it, but I'm not really a fan. He has kids, so
I don't have any children.
I don't
I love
play-
Pokemon. I've seen a lot of the animated series. I've played a lot of the games. I will probably big up the latest game pretty soon here for GlitchSlap.
I was very interested in what you were going to say. She was going to say she's the only person here who might have actually played. Did you play them? One
I
other person here who should be playing those kinds of games sometime in their life. So what were you going to
Well,
say?
I watched the cartoon when I was younger, and I never played like the
Cartoon.
The
Not
DS
anime. Don't get angry. Don't get angry. I can already see it. Do not flame us. She meant anime.
I
It's
did. I'm
legit.
sorry.
Well,
I played the card game as well.
Okay, I played the card game, but I came in at like the first Pokemon game for Game Boy.
Whoa.
The first
Red.
episode of Pokemon came on my first day of 8th grade.
There wasn't even
I
color
was
in
never
that
cool
game.
enough to
There
own a
wasn't.
Game Boy.
There was no color in
I
that.
stole it from my sister. We'll get
Kids,
into
there
that
was
later.
no color in that game. It was like off beige and sort of black, like a gray.
Best kind, right?
Yeah.
And I actually didn't even like RPGs before I played that. I was like, oh, those are so
Shut your
long and
mouth.
boring. And then I played Pokemon. I was like, oh, you level up. You can learn new skills. I can name them.
Late
Okay.
bloomer, man.
RPGs
I
are
get
my
it.
favorite
I get
type of
it.
game.
I'm in now. I guess I'll go try some of those first frequency Final Fantasy games. I guess I'll try some. And then my life changed forever.
I'll try one of those games.
Yeah.
Those games.
Yeah, and I've never looked back. But I will talk about Pokemon some more later.
Okay.
So, for PS Vita, for all 4 people that bought that recently. EP Chain Reaction came out. Gyro.eat came out, whatever that is. You pumped for that? You're going to do something better than me? I might eat the gyro later, and
I'm
maybe
so
I'll-
looking from the Euro.eat. I don't have any idea what that is. I can tell you that if I was making titles, I would think maybe you ran a website that sells Euros online. I don't
It
have any
sounds like
idea.
a new Euro place nearby.
Yeah,
You guys know Euro.eat?
Yeah, you should open
Do
it.
it.
A Euro.
Euro.eat. Yeah.
So many copies are being
Yeah.
sold as we speak.
Yeah.
Also, Hallowed Sky came out, and Candy, Please, which also sounds like another place you would get some candy at.
Yeah,
but
it
no,
sounds
it's
like
a
the
game.
rate. It's like the sim for the rape van. Like you pull up and it says candy please, and then you see how many kids you can dump into your van.
Oh my god.
That's like the worst. I actually don't have any. I own a Vita. I like my Vita. I think that the Vita and PlayStation 4 combination is like the best. No games.
Sony whore.
No games for it.
No.
Like I've never seen anybody come up with the best hardware and nobody gives a shit. And these games, EP Chain Reaction, Euro.eat, Hallowed Sky sounds like it could be cool, but I've never heard of it. And Candy Please, I
Without
don't
a
know
question
what to
mark.
do.
It's candy, comma, please, no question mark.
Yeah, I don't.
What are we teaching our children?
I know.
It's kind of like
way
a
too
cluster
affirmative.
fluff over there.
It is. It's totally a cluster fuck over there. I'd like to state unequivocally that right now, my PlayStation 4, I get a good amount of use out of, but my Vita is literally a Final Fantasy station. I have every Final Fantasy game on it, and that's pretty much all I use it for. I stream to it, so I can use it to play my PS4 games, but as a console itself, I don't own any PS Vita games.
You have Final
Minecraft
Fantasy
just
on?
came out for Vita.
It has what?
Minecraft?
What's-
Came out for Vita.
Is that the thing?
What's
that
Minecraft thing?
My
She's
grandfather
right.
used to be a miner. He got black lung. Is that? I was a miner before I was 17. Is that? No. No.
No.
Okay. Okay. I just got
Are you
tried
a
to-
Minecraft person? Do you
Yeah,
actually-
yeah. I have it on my computer. I play it when I'm.
So what does griever mean? And where did that come from?
Reaver.
Yeah, don't be a griever. I thought that was a Minecraft thing.
Oh no, that's for MMOs.
Oh.
Man. Yeah, that's like when you purposely
Nobody
go
ever-
out of your way to piss people off just to
See?
watch the reaction.
Griefer. Ah, nobody ever called me that because I'm always a white mage. White mages never get hated on because we save the day. We're the greatest things ever.
So the first thing that I'm going to move on to, I think, are we good or do we have?
Oh, we can move on to joystick.
Yeah, okay. If you want to talk about the golden joystick stuff, that would be great. So everybody knows what the golden joystick is. Everybody
Familiar?
familiar? So golden joystick is essentially it's sort of like the Tony Awards or whatever else for video games. They
It's
come
funny
out.
that the Tony Awards would be the one award show that you would go to.
Why?
Just very queenish.
Don't get mad at me because I know it's important. Jesus.
Like the Tony Awards,
the Tonys.
but with a little less Neil Patrick.
I actually don't. And what good would that be? Neil Patty all day long.
No good at all.
Just keep him on
I
stage.
only watch half of the Tonys and then I'm done with it. I don't want any more for this another year.
I actually just can't remember what the rest of them are called, like the
The
other
Oscars?
awards. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
the
Oscars, maybe.
Globes, Emmys.
The MTV Music Awards. Joystick's probably more like the MTV Music Awards, to be
The
fair.
CMAs, obviously.
Oh God,
What's
yeah.
that?
Country music
Oh,
Yeah,
awards.
I think it's like Shania Twain.
Isn't that the same like
Faith
7
Hill.
people every year?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, they're like, hey,
we have the
Faith Hill.
Dixie Chicks. They're cool again.
It was a huge coup when they got
Faith Hill
from
still looks
Hootie and the
sporty.
Blowfish, though.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's because Hootie and the Blowfish has a black singer, so they were like, wow!
See, we told you.
Yeah.
We're cool. Now.
Amazing. Amazing.
So go ahead.
Okay, so the game of the year was Dark Souls 2.
Oh Jesus.
It is. So you can't see him yet. We have a special guest today, and if you can understand how much he loves Dark Souls, his face lit up. It got all red, and he's got a mustache. He looked a little bit like Santa Claus for a second. A level of excitement. So you'll meet him later. But
This guy too.
I also love Dark Souls.
yeah,
I heard
I
that
also
before.
don't.
if you saw our last show, he went off on that.
Yeah,
tangent.
It's an okay game. It doesn't challenge the idea of what games are or
No,
anything,
no.
but it's fun, and you should try it because there's lots of expansions coming out, which are fun too. It's game of the year.
I don't know.
Yes, it's fun. Some of us like to
Like-
get beaten over and over again.
I like playing games that I can actually complete without throwing my controller out the window.
That's why I buy
Also,
a
just
new
not playing
controller.
Counter-Strike.
I'm a fan of story too.
Oh, it has story. It has
Yeah.
story that you have to read items descriptions to find out.
I feel like Dark
should love
Souls
that.
is the game that people who don't want to play MMOs play to be aggravated, and that's like I'm not that much of a
true.
masochist. So like
Yeah.
it just there are plenty of ways I can get irritated with the MMOs I play, and if you don't play an MMO, then you're like, hey, here's a game that could tell me if I want to flog myself when I play it. So I get it. I couldn't tell you why I play MMOs still. As you don't. So.
I think they should call like Dark Souls 2, put a little like subtitle in there, you'll learn to like pain. You'll give pain to others, they'll give pain
I
to you.
like that.
I feel like
Dark Souls
Hellraiser,
2,
if the guys in Hellraiser
Learn
game,
to like pain edition.
They do like exquisite pain.
exquisite pain. The puzzle you solve to get through this one part of the game will bring the set of lights on
This
you.
is a meme that you heard it here. There's going to be a thing with the Hellraiser guy's head on top of somebody from there. Exquisite.
It kind of works for the general feel of the game too. There's lots of weird stuff in there. But we'll get into that. Game of the year though. Game of the year.
Game of that game of the year though.
Yep. This is very near and dear to my heart. The Lifetime Achievement Award is given to Hideo Kojima,
Oh man.
one of my idols.
What can we not say enough about Hideo Kojima?
Bef-
Troll master.
Before I ever played Metal Gear, I played each one of the games he worked on and loved them. And I was like, oh, this is this guy who made them. And he also made Metal Gear, and which I'm going to put inside my. I want to grease Metal Gear up and shove it inside my body.
Yes.
That's going to be a thing for each.
What was it?
Never
Shove it
mind.
up inside my
I
butt.
want to put it inside me. I
Exactly.
want to shove it directly up my ass.
That's it.
Exactly.
Directly up my
But yeah, Hideo Kojima, fantastic. Man, he's one of the greatest. You guys can say something about him. before
I don't have. There are no words. No, I really just think he's a troll. Like I love all the games he does, but every time he does a release of a game or a new video from a game, there's always the most random ass shit in it,
Mhm.
and people try to read into it. And I think he's got I think he's got like that thing from South Park where he's got a big like tank of sea enemies and there's like balls and he's like, all right, so Metal Gear and then go. And the sea enemies bring stuff over and they're like a banana and a frog and then like, you know, Snake kissing Obama. And like that's it. And then so then you'll have part of a regular trailer and then like, you know, the new Metal Gear's coming out soon and it'll be like Snake dropping out and then like a helicopter comes down and he throws a banana at him and who's that? Snake grabs a banana and it's Obama. He's like, good luck on your mission, and then flies off. Like that, I could see that being.
Well, you're forgetting the twist
Obama's
ending.
going to be a playable character.
That's what you think until Obama pulls his mask off.
Oh right,
And it's actually Hideo Kojima. He's like,
yeah.
thanks for playing.
Yep. And then he like rolls off with your money.
The whole thing
Oh,
was
you can have all my money.
Revolver Ocelot the whole time.
Yeah, I heard.
Because he's in every game now.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
That's not accurate.
He's not actually in Metal Gear 1 or 2. Just saying.
Well, I mean, we can't get it right the first time, all the time.
This is coming from a guy who's never actually played it.
Yeah, but he'll watch the video and try to act like he
But then
wants
you
to.
come in like 10 years later and you're like, I liked Revolver Ocelot. And then you see a video and he's still, and you're like, I thought he died.
You know, I have a solution.
Wait, how does he have 5 arms now?
I think we're going to have Dylan Cleaver, both names, do a Let's Play through all of the Metal Gears, and then you can watch
this guy over there. He's ready.
Yeah, I'm actually.
Is your body
His
ready?
body is ready.
Yeah, I'm actually going to do that up to the midnight release of the last one.
I stand corrected. We have a better looking person, so we might actually have to get a camera.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be emotional. I'm sure I'll cry
No,
several
actually,
times.
Dylan's very pretty. Like if you ever saw him.
Do you want to do it together?
Absolutely.
I'm down with that.
I will have you know when I beat the 4th one, I did cry for about 20 minutes.
Oh, you didn't cry at the end of the 3rd one?
No, I cried about every
Why
time I
not?
played the game.
Why didn't you? I'm going to cry right now thinking about the end of the game. Why wouldn't you cry? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you though? She was his mentor. That's what.
Big boss, no!
I'm sorry.
I'm actually tearing up.
When
I'm thinking about it.
When I finally
I'm
leave this
sure I
world,
did
I'm just
cry.
going to name the names of the bosses from that game.
wanted to save her country! Do you love your country?
Obviously, you don't want to know dear
Children!
but
They took her babies!
they took everything from her, and he gave everything. Anyways, get ready for that coming up. Let's play Metal Gear Solid 1 through 5 with many tears. Brothers in arms. I'll hold one side of the controller, you'll hold the other. We'll take
That
pictures
sounds
of it.
good.
All day long.
Martin Luther's dream come true.
Finally, thank you, Coach.
All right, that's enough for Hideo. He deserves so much more. But
So much more.
best gaming platform of the year, PlayStation 4. No, sorry. No, it's not, because that would require games to come out. It's Steam.
It's Steam.
Oh,
Everybody
nice.
wasn't surprised by the fact that gaming platform of the year is the one that actually every single game comes out on Steam.
Yeah, it's the greatest.
Coming up from behind. Whoa.
Steam from behind.
Steam with a rep round.
Well, the best mobile game was Hearthstone Heroes of Warcraft.
I actually didn't play that.
Well, you were too busy playing Warcraft? or-
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So apparently lots of people really enjoyed this. I've never tried it myself, but
I'm willing to bet that there wasn't many other mobile games they even bothered to play.
I also don't usually pay money for apps. If I have to, I get annoyed.
that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah,
Whether or not
that's
we
next
have to.
week.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Let's see. The best indie game or original game was DayZ.
It's actually both. It was best indie game and best original game.
It was both.
It was
Oh,
so
okay.
shitty.
Was it? It
Hey,
wasn't original though. Wasn't it on a different game first before they made it a separate?
It was
Probably Half-Life.
it was an Arma 2 mod,
Yeah. See, it was a mod.
and then they made it into a standalone game.
So I think it's original game when it became DayZ.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Actually, one of the executive producers of this game was Jay-Z.
I don't know.
That's why it seems like it's a build from something earlier that you already like.
Psycho noises.
Not that original. Anyways. Has anyone played DayZ? Anybody actually played DayZ?
I don't know.
I
I
played it.
have
Well,
seen people play
Do people like it? Does anybody in the show like it? Do you like it?
Yeah,
I played it. I liked it.
I love it. It's awesome.
It's
I
fun.
feel like the guy in Serenity who, like, when the operative holds up the sword and the dude falls on it. That's what I feel like when I
Did you
watch
just
it.
get a spoiler for everyone who's never seen Serenity?
It's in the first 5 minutes.
It's funny, you started saying that and I said Adam Baldwin and then you said sword and I said, oh,
Oh, never mind.
No surprise.
not, what's his name in that?
Jane.
Jane?
Never seen Serenity.
Jane Gummer.
Is it a series?
Oh my god.
Is it an animated?
No,
series?
actually, Serenity's not a series. Firefly is though.
How is that?
Thanks,
Hey.
Brian. It is.
Oh, I've just never heard of it. Internet?
I hope they eventually bring it back and everybody's too
Coming from
damn
a
old
guy
to
who
do
was
it.
crying about Hideo Kojima.
Don't get me started.
Not again.
So great. No, I've seen Firefly. Calm down, internet. I don't want any death threats or anything. But that's another conversation. The best visual design was Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag.
Fair.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but
It was a pretty game.
it was pretty.
It was at least as pretty as the 3 other games that they used the exact same thing to make. Yeah.
That's true. That is true. It was.
It
pretty,
had
though.
water in it,
The
though.
water animation was really nice.
People really like water
It
and
was real
boats.
pretty.
Boats.
I like that.
Boats.
Boats, guys.
The best
Plus, you
story-
get to sing. Sorry.
Sorry, go
You
ahead.
get to sing, shanties and whatnot.
Do you actually
Oh,
have to sing in that
Jesus.
game?
What?
You sing it with
No,
Mike?
collect freaking. Oh my
You get,
god.
like, little papers and
Those
you just like chase them around. on the wind, and
Stupid
if you
pirate
miss
We're not
songs.
too missing them.
them, you get them again at a different time.
You don't even know. I fucking muted the game because they didn't hire anybody. They were like, hey guys, come sing these pirate songs. And then they brought people like, yo ho, yo, the pirate's life for me. It was like the worst. And you could tell they were supposed to be real pirates, like, yeah, authentically bad. But you hear the same 6 songs and it actually drives you to collect all of them. Because you start off with like 2 fucking pirate shanties. And it's like Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, right? So you're just like over the sea because you can't fucking teleport at the beginning of the game. So like hours of
singing
this,
while you're doing it.
and they're just over and over. And it's like having children. Like when they're like, "How many times you watch Frozen today?" 72. There's not even that many hours in the day. You watch 72 times. There's a time warp, and it's maddening. So you have to collect all the shanties because you can't shut them the fuck up. Sorry,
It's okay. Apparently, it's a very popular game. I'm from a very nautical part of the country where we have a Blackbeard festival and stuff like that. And I didn't play the game because I played it before and it was Assassin's Creed 2. Anyways, take that, Assassin's Creed fans. Take it. I really like your gameplay. It's kind of antiquated. I'd rather play a Batman game.
I like it. I like the multiplayer.
No, I never really played in the
Multiplayer is actually amazing.
I'll give it a shot. I'm not opposed to playing
It's totally
it.
different
I'm
than
that guy.
if I was going to give it an award, I would say that the first time they did the multiplayer, which was Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, they should have gotten an award, and then that would be it. And maybe they did, I don't know. But it was a completely different kind of experience than any other multiplayer I've ever played, where you hunt other people down. You have to pretend to be an NPC. That's basically what it is that you hide yourself because you're there assassinating other random people. It's actually nobody. I like it because you come from 10 years of all the PvP you have is either World of Warcraft or the same 6 shooters that keep rehashing their same garbage. And then this game was just totally different. So I would give it a try sometime.
I'm digging that sometime. I'm a huge fan of multiplayer. It's
The free running is once you get past the first game, it's pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
the
the
first
free
couple
running
games
second
were.
one was really good.
Yeah, the first
I like
one was
that.
wonky as
The
hell.
first one was terrible.
I just chucked that off that it was a person who had not a lot of experience and never played. Getting around in that Crusader outfit must be
Okay.
It's just bad.
Just continue on.
Well, the best storytelling actually went to The Last of Us Left Behind. The DLC had better storytelling than the actual game, which I haven't played the DLC myself. Sorry, I've just been kind of biding my time and getting to it eventually. So has anyone played the DLC?
Go on.
Has anybody played the DLC?
Regulating on those children. No, I actually haven't even played The Last of Us.
I haven't
Oh,
played.
really?
I know, I keep getting
Wait,
that.
what? What?
I know, right?
From all the people here should play The Last of Us.
Wait.
Hey, don't
I've
judge it.
played the. Are you gonna turn in your Vita after this? Because you probably
Have you
should.
beaten The Last of Us already?
I haven't played it, or I haven't beaten it. I haven't
Okay,
played
so
it.
let's set it down.
I have this continuous stack of games that I keep adding up that I need to play, and it's getting worse because I play so much Final Fantasy XIV that I have to force myself to stop playing it because of what I'm doing.
Well, you have 24 hours.
Yeah, tonight at midnight. Well, I'm still trying to make my way through the Evil Within. Like, according to some of the people who've played it, you get past like chapter 9, and I guess it gets interesting. But until then, I'm like, this is like so boring.
The boring within.
It is like the boring within. There are videos. Go look at the videos on our site. There are videos of Dylan playing them and being like, I am so bored with this game, singing to himself, and his singing is actually more interesting than the gameplay.
It took 6 episodes to get to something interesting.
There you
And then
go.
he screams a lot. So.
Then I scream a lot. It was my actual nightmare came to life in front
Hash
of me.
note.
And it was my actual nightmare.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
seriously?
boring up until that point.
Yeah,
and then
there's literally an
afterwards-
episode titled "Nothing Happens," and it's
no way.
15 minutes of
There
nothing
is
happening.
literally an episode
I
titled.
We
fucking
gotta
hate
get some
you.
exposition in there. Like every video was. Again, I think we talked about this last one where it's like, what's it about? I don't know. It's just jump scares.
Yeah.
in the beginning, it's like a very, I guess, so you start the game off and it's a stealth game. Anybody who's out there who's like a fan or has played the Resident Evil games before, you're like, oh, I'm not going to have a lot of ammo, so I should conserve ammo, yada yada, and you're sneaking around, and it gets kind of repetitive because you're like, all right, now I'm through this gate, now I'm in the next area, there's more zombies, let me sneak around the zombies and grab this item and grab this item and stab them and run through this area, and you do it again and again, and there's, not to ruin the storyline for people, but the beginning makes zero sense. Like it's like watching Inception, and I mean that. Something happens where if you saw the movie Inception, it's almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
And
more blood.
Right, and then shit happens that you can only guess is very metaphysical, and then every time that they try to make tension, it's actually kind of laughable. Like you start off at one point where I think it's supposed to start being scary, and I think at least a couple of us have played this, and you're just hanging upside down, and they're like, oh no, this is so scary. You're kind of like, this is actually just boring and kind of gross. Like a head gets cut off, and you're not scared. You're just like, that was kind of sick. Just
not like oh, sick.
It's nothing like,
just like
it's nothing like
yeah,
Outlast.
Okay. Yeah.
Outlast, which is actually terrifying.
Yeah. Outlast.
I'll have to give that a shot. I'm not a big fan of the horror genre myself, but I'll give it a shot. Fair enough.
Okay.
So moving right along, the best multiplayer was Battlefield 4.
Are you kidding me?
I feel the same way. I'm a huge fan of multiplayer, and there's so many different varieties of it. You can even you can get into it. There's MMO multiplayer. There's
I think going by like how many people play it, because that would be the only reason I would see why that would win.
Popularity contest.
Yeah.
perhaps.
As awards generally are.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it depends on what you want to do with your multiplayer. There's co-op where you don't actually try to hurt
I
other
prefer
people.
co-op.
You work together. It's fun.
I like
Try it
co-op.
out. And I don't know. I played Battlefield 3. I played 4 a little bit with my brother-in-law, who's a huge fan, and he would probably agree with this. But I wouldn't call it best multiplayer there is. I think they should break that down a little bit more, because there's
Different
some
genres of multiplayer.
Yeah, there's co-op, there's online, there's all different kinds of.
Candy Crush has got some mad multiplayer that could at least have competed with that. So I would probably like to play either one.
Yeah.
Exactly. So. Does anybody else think that maybe it would be cool to see like the Golden Joystick change their format so that you win something and you get to keep the Golden Joystick, and then next year, if nothing's better, you keep it?
Oh, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that. So when you see, because I feel like sometimes they'll say like Game of the Year or something, like Gaming Platform of the Year, Steam. Who's going to take that from them? So it's going to be
It's gonna
Steam
be a
everywhere
while.
anyway, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be a while.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. So if it was that, well, frankly, next year, I mean, I'm not the Dark Souls fan here, but let's say next year comes out and nothing's as good as Dark Souls. Well, then Game of the Year is still Dark Souls 2. And I would think that would be like a glaring call out to the game industry to be like, hey, you suck so bad. You couldn't even use new games to be better than that game last year. No, it'll be Bloodborne.
Yeah, Bloodborne is the next game from the from Software, which is hard to say. It's from Software, so it's gonna be pretty amazing.
So you play
You're on
the
board?
software?
That was a bad joke.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
I don't know if you can tell, she's got the best glare. Like, she's got mom glare now, and she's nowhere near mom, but she can just sit, give him the glare. See? Disapproving as fuck. Just so you know. Alright. So I think that's it for the Golden Joystick.
That's the highlights of Golden Joystick, actually.
So next thing I would just go over is I think maybe only Dylan and I are the two people here are hidden guests off in the corner to a much lesser extent. No, actually Terry too. You played. Hopefully we'll rope you back into it. But we went to the Final Fantasy Fan Festival. Tried to do the updates. This weekend was the London one. We don't have the money combined between us to just fly to London willy-nilly, so we didn't cover that nearly as much. But some really cool stuff coming out for 2.4, which actually hits on Tuesday, which is going to add Shiva, a couple other different types of dungeons and stuff. I know, I'm super stoked. She's
I'm
so
super
hot.
stoked. Shiva's my favorite Summer.
Is she?
Throughout all series.
I would say that makes sense. See, or Siren. I like.
Oh, you're a big fan of Siren?
I'm a big fan of boobs.
Yeah. Okay. Me too.
Yeah,
Me too.
I
I
don't
like
tend
cold
to like
women
men.
that'll hurt you. So
I feel like there's so many men to look at already that I just don't need my other. So we're looking forward to that patch. There's going to be a lot of different kinds of changes you can check out on the patch notes. But the bigger news, which they've been evolving, is the first expansion, which is coming out probably the end, I would say, of spring 2015. And I believe we've got a video of that, so we're going to go ahead and click over and show the video.
Product not yet ready.
Peggy 17. or
Is
whatever
this
it is.
video featuring the ninja?
No, this is not. This is actually the Heaven Sport. So I'm using that.
I'll tell you that.
I can tell you when we were there, and I'm trying to talk a little bit lower just because I don't really care much as you're talking. I actually can't see it. But the video actually shows like a warrior walking up. It's very stylized. It's like warriors walking up. It's a little Diablo. And he comes in and he takes his cloak off, and he's up near Corthus Highlands, and there's a big dragon, and he takes on the dragon. It's super total cool, like a warrior. And the video is really interesting because it goes straight from there, which a lot of the Dragoon players really like. And then he does a kind of a job change, which they haven't shown in any previous videos. He actually goes from warrior to Dragoon. Yeah, so he goes from warrior up to Genesis. So you see some of that. We'll go ahead and pull that off and break down. Super cool. And then the last thing that I want to talk about before we kind of get into the meat and the potatoes discussion, like I said, we want to get into the Gamergate thing today. I wanted to make the point, and I'm going to show if you want to throw on the Bayonetta video for now. I think this really illustrates. Now, I'm a huge Bayonetta fan, and I think the Bayonetta 2 video shows. It's got some gameplay and stuff in it as well. You can check this out. This trailer's up on YouTube. It's free to watch. But Bayonetta is a classically very centralized character. Bayonetta, long legs,
shall be the
food,
first
absolutely
Umbral
beautiful.
die at
Glasses, you got
my
that hot
hands.
librarian thing going on.
I swear it on my
I don't know
honor as a
I don't know whether that was good enough.
I don't know. I don't remember. I know she might have had one and it's in the cabinet. or something.
Our friends in Paradiso are far too
They are hot, but they're all
They
just
are
very
very
overly sensitive. And I think that's
Our friends down
I like it. I like the way
south upset as well.
I'm
I'm not one for
it's
pets
important
who
because there are a lot of
listen to
people
their
like Edith
masters.
Rakis and stuff that will take it take that video and they can finish watching that wherever they are. We're gonna segment into talking about Gamergate. Now, the reason why I thought this was a really great time to do it is because it's been popping around the news for a while, and people, especially places like New York Times and stuff, have been trying to avoid it because they don't really want to talk about it. I think it's more of a gamer issue. But you actually saw a couple of those sites bring up some stories about that in the last week, and they felt like it was very important for them to finally get in on the talk. And everybody's, I guess, favorite redheaded game girl, Felicia Day, finally had a run-in with that. She decided to put a blog post about it. It was very straightforward. She talked about, I don't know that it was specifically entirely about Gamergate of itself, but more that her amalgamation of being famous in the gamer world and being afraid over the last, of course, couple of years, and that she felt like that she had almost let herself and other people down because she gave in to that fear and didn't want to be seen and things. And so I thought it was a very even article. It was from the heart, and it
Did you read it?
I did, yeah. And I don't think well, it's a blog, and I don't know if I should clarify that. But I feel like that she did a very good job of saying it's not gamers in general, but that it could be painted that way, and that everybody has to take responsibility for it. And that being said, since I think we have a couple of fans here in front of you now, and who are the GlitchSlap staff who absolutely love Felicia Day, that maybe this would be a good time to talk about it. So what we're actually going to do is Terry and I are going to swap out because there's not a whole lot of room in the studio here. We're going to get off camera and go sit over there in the hot sun. And we're going to bring in our special guest for today, who is Aaron Haynes. Aaron Haynes is, he's more of a local person. A lot of people here know him. He's an avid gamer. He's got a couple of sites he's put together, and he's done some newsletters and stuff about like men in gaming and like defending their place. And so he's going to join us and kind of take the, I don't want to say, I guess mostly pro Gamergate side of the discussion. We're going to have Eric talk a little bit about the other side of that, and then Kenna's going to be here as the voice of reason between the two. So you want to jump on in here, and we'll move all this other stuff out of the way. Two highlights. All right, guys. So I'll let you guys
get a chair.
take it off.
Sitting on the floor.
McKenna, if you want
I
to,
probably should have done that.
you want to be the one to talk about it. Just go ahead and get started. I'll let you know. Yeah, where you want to start?
Let's start with where it started. Gamergate basically started because of Zoe Quinn, for the most part, And if you don't know who that is, she designed, developed, wrote a game called Depression Quest, which is a free-to-play. Donations are, you don't have to donate anything to play it or anything. It helps people through their depression. And she had an ex-boyfriend who posted a huge, massive amount of hateful things about her that may or may not be true. Just derailing all of her efforts for everything. So, do you want to talk about that whole thing?
Well, the first time I read about Gamergate was, I didn't know anything about it until I read about it on Cracked, where Zoe Quinn, where Zoe Quinn actually did an article about all that shit, and that's kind of where I found out about it, and I started following it and seeing, it was actually some of the greatest articles they've ever done, not necessarily for the articles, but for the comments. The comment sections were a lot of fun. So,
What kind of comments were you getting?
Oh man, just so much hate. Just so much hate. A lot of stuff saying like they're not reporting on all aspects. So of course you would only bring on Zoe Quinn, and they were very derisive of the whole movement altogether. Anyways, that's where I started out reading about it, and then it's kind of spread beyond that. I thought it was kind of more of a localized thing, but now it's blowing up everywhere. So
yeah, hit the media. I mean, the MSN as soon as they picked it up, it kind of went everywhere. But for the most part, it's been on Twitter, Reddit, 4chan, 8chan. The Escapist has its own little blog about it, or like board about it. But it's pretty much anybody and everybody who wants to be called a gamer trying to fight back against the game journalists. Basically.
So maybe that's where we should start. Okay, so we've got two sides. There's a lot more sides to this, and you guys, I prepped on that pad there if you want to have some of the physical history of the stuff that actually went on about it going down the line. But why don't you tell us? We'll start, since I think you're taking one stance on Eric. Why don't you start by telling us your interpretation of what Gamergate is about, and then we could have the other side of it too, and we could go there as a kind of a discussion point.
I mean, and since I get to go first, I'm not usually the aggressor on things, but what do I think it's about? I know what everybody likes to say is what it's about, and they like to say it's about ethics and gaming journalism. I think that's something that popped up afterwards, and what people have been trying to excuse the behavior that they've had to the whole to everybody's reaction, negative reaction with all the doxing that's been going on, which is I don't know what that actually stands for, but just posting of personal information, which happened to Felicia Day, which happened to Zoe Quinn.
Oh, no,
Which happened to, was it Brianna Wu?
Brianna Wu. Yeah.
Brianna Wu. And then, which has always happened to Anita, I don't know.
Sarkeesian.
Sarkeesian. And it's just a new face for the same problem that's been going on since Anita first posted her first Feminist Frequency video.
Maybe before that. I mean, it's been a while. But that's mainly kind of like an internet anti-feminism case. The problem that is Gamergate is that it's not anti-feminism, or it's not anti-anything except for the game journalist stuff. That's the biggest, I guess, topic of conversation about what the Gamergate is that it's been conflated into being something that it's not. It is. There are not Gamergaters. There are game consumers. There is not a movement. It's a consumer revolt. It's people sitting there saying, I don't trust you telling me what games to buy anymore because you are taking kickbacks, you are, and most of this stuff has been proven, doing things that just people do not think and deem ethical. You have, journalists who stand up and have an ethics board, and then you have game bloggers and journalists or whatever that say we're not technically journalists because we don't follow these ethical standards. And So they can go to a gaming convention or something like that and be given new keyboards and mice and stuff like that for to promote their, the brand Razer or something to that effect.
Yeah, but that's been going on forever. It's been going on long before Gamergate. Where did Gamergate start? It started with the Zoe Quinn post,
right?
Which was in itself like crazy misogynistic. It was crazy misogynistic. It accused her of sleeping with 5 different people and then getting good game reviews off of that, and somehow her vagina was going to destroy the internet.
So maybe we should clarify like where the actual tag came from.
Okay.
So we want to talk about.
It did come from Adam Baldwin posting and Internet Aristocrats' original video on the topic. Okay, and the video on the topic was, I just saw this Enron thing and looked deeper into it, and some of this stuff is really true. A lot of his original video was, we don't care about what Zoe Quinn did, the fact that she slept with people. We only care about the fact that she got press for doing so.
I would like to point out, before we go any further, that Nathan Grayson, who is a Kotaku journalist that Zoe Quinn was accused of sleeping with, never actually wrote an article on Depression Quest, ever. So, the review that she supposedly received for intercourse with him never happened.
And that's the problem that I have with the whole movement as a whole. Like, the movement itself, Gamergate as a whole, to me, is a farce. It's a farce. It's misogyny in video games. Like Anita Sarkeesian?
Sarkeesian.
I should probably know how to pronounce her last name. She's been getting death threats for. I've been watching her channel. I think somebody posted something, and I started watching her stuff after she started after the Kickstarter, after the feminist frequency that she started on her channel, and she's been getting death threats and like crazy criticism about, and she's not even saying like all that. The things that she says in her videos aren't even all that crazy, but the amount of vitriol that she gets in response is it's outlandish. And then this Gamergate crap pops up, and it's the exact same crap that happened again. And ethics in gaming journalism didn't start with Zoe Quinn. It's been going on for a long time.
Right.
Calling it Gamergate, that's all Gamergate is about.
Well,
it's attacking women.
Let's look at it. It's been brewing for a while. Okay? It's been going on for a while. People had the inclination. The initial Gamergate inciting thing was Zoe Quinn. A lot of it has been proven, and there were things that Nathan Grayson wrote about Zoe Quinn promoting her
Do you have
stuff.
a link for that?
I do, yeah, but I don't have it readily available. I mean, it's here. Anyways,
No, sit off the top of your head. YouTube /
yeah, QFR2. Yeah.
Well, feel free. I mean, if you have
Yeah.
stuff you want to link up, just when they're talking, just pull them up your phones.
Okay. But then after that, you have the Game Journal Pros. You have what we
Fine
talked
Young
about,
Capitalists.
the Fine Young Capitalists. I keep saying Young Turks because that Matt Bender and that's the crazy there. You have a lot more going forward. You have all of the Gawker stuff. Jezebel writing an article saying that all men rape. That sex in itself is rape. Like, even if it's consensual, that sex is rape. This is a Jezebel article. Yes.
I read Jezebel all the time. Never said anything. I have read an article about that, but from a crazy feminist, and I would be the first one to say that.
So we'll get you a link to that
So
later.
if the discussion is about feminism, that's one thing. The other thing is again the ethics in journalism. The 9 out of 10 score, the 10 out of 10 score, the things that that like Depression Quest got. Sargon of Akkad goes over the entire like history of the Depression Quest, and it got a lot of bad reviews. It was not being greenlit by Steam because nobody liked the game. Nobody thought it was a game. They thought it was a choose your own adventure HTML website, essentially, to be sold as a game, and it initially was for a price. She had to put it for free for people to actually buy it. It got greenlit because of the journalism press that she got from it.
Have you ever played the game?
I watched Sargon of Akkad play the game. He thought it was an alright story, but it wasn't a game.
And was this the guy who was one of the anti? Zoe Quinn things?
He thinks Zoe Quinn's a social justice warrior, but that's about it.
What do you think about the fact that she sends all of the money that she makes via donations through that game to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline?
Whether or not that's a credible thing, I've never heard that. So whether or not she does it or not, that's great. But what we do know is that she has Game Jam. No. Yes. That's like Rage Jam or Nerd Jam or something like that. She has a completely separate Game Jam that she takes donations from, and it goes directly into her account, PayPal account.
I think this all still
So-
just muddles the issue.
It does. That's the point. It's,
I mean,
all of
EA
this
Games
is
does the stuff. Was Activision does the same stuff? Why not go after them? Why didn't it start with everything that they do? Why does it start out? I read an article on Kotaku about the Shadow of Mordor getting sent out to all these game reviewers, YouTube reviewers, but there were a lot of conditions put onto them. There was money attached to it, and said they had to give like positive reviews. They weren't allowed to talk about any of the glitches. How come it didn't start with that? How come it started with a no-name indie female producer with a Depression Quest HTML game? Zork was a text-based game. Who gives a shit? It started with her. It started steeped in that misogynistic bullshit that's been happening to all these feminists who have been coming out and
if
saying
that was the
maybe
case-
there's something wrong with the gaming industry.
If that was the case, why did Christina H. Summers come forward saying no, this is not the case? Why does Kathy Young, have articles? Why is Milo, who is gay, promoting it now? He was against gamers in the very beginning. He was like, these guys are nerds. What about the Sam Biffle incident? What about the Game Journal Pros? Nobody, we haven't talked about that.
These are all, I don't know if you read up on
I don't know.
I should clarify this stuff, but these are all people who are actually part of Gamergate, and they are actually become part of the hash not your shield thing,
Right.
Which people started moving away from Gamergate to using both because not your shield is about not just women, but all kinds of different types of gamers who want to basically say, don't use your ideas and use me as a shield to defend what you think you're defending. I know that's kind of
Not Your Shield was
That's
coined by
100% clear.
Not Your Shield was coined by a black journalist. I believe his name was like Phil Cummins or something like that. I've got the link in here. And he actually got fired for his ideas behind Gamergate. He's pro Gamergate, and he says there, or he saw the 14 different articles all posted, the death of gamers within 48 hours by numerous different articles or different game journalists' websites, all saying the same thing, that gamers were cis hetero, white, neck beard virgins living in their mother's basements. And he specifically is like, excuse me, no, I'm a gamer. I am pro Gamergate, and I do not appreciate you using me
Well,
as
what were
your
all those
shield.
articles written in response to?
They were written in response to the initial Gamergate. They were not response. They were deflection. They were, no, please don't look at these people who actually have an argument
All
against
those articles were written in
ethics.
response to the death threats, the rape threats, the just general craziness that came from that whole initial post, which was, by the way, posted by a jilted ex-boyfriend. I think the credibility in that is
Lee Alexander.
already
Yep.
fucking suspect.
So Lee Alexander, we're talking about the anti-Gamergate, posts. She started that one. She had the first and the most viralific. She started it. Most of the death of gamer ones. What's really interesting about Lee Alexander is 2 hours after her post, she has posted a Vine on her Twitter channel of her walking out of the Gamma Sutra offices, holding up her phone and going with this like smirk on her face, like she just won the internet. So, I mean, these are the kind of people that we're talking about. They are specifically out to either incite, troll, or impress their viewpoints on people who have no desire to have that viewpoint.
I think that's all just a matter of opinion.
okay, if it's a matter of opinion, that's fine, but you can't put it into game journalism and say, my opinion is more important than your ability to buy this video game.
Hate liberals in this country. A lot of people hate conservatives in this country. But calling them, these are the type of people that we're dealing with here, and just saying they're being disingenuous just for the sake of being disingenuous. I don't agree with a lot of people in politics, but I wouldn't say that they don't believe in what they believe in. Just because you're an asshole doesn't make your points irrelevant.
Back in September, I believe it was Kotaku, I'm not entirely sure, but one of the video games, I don't know specifically if you have any, not your Shield, UFC, yeah, okay. So from what I've read and what I remember, one of the things is back in November, September or so, they posted where I was going with this, I'm not sure. Yeah, right. It was there, and then half a second. Anyways, it was.
What you guys were talking about before, and I'll clarify this a little bit for you. So, what was it in response to? So, that timeline that I have on the iPad there, and that's what I put it for you guys. You can take a look at it. The timeline. What happened was that you had Zoe Quinn's ex-boyfriend put that thing on there, and then you had articles that were in response to that, and then she. It was the Zoe Quinn doxing incident that happened after that, where she got pulled out on 4chan and yelled at about 4chan and things like that, and she copied all these things out of 4chan and put them out into an article that she wrote and said, this happened to me. I got attacked on 4chan. It was consequently immediately rebuffed. I don't know the realities of it. I don't think anybody does, but it was consequently rebuffed by the people who were in that channel to say a couple of things. First off, nobody controls 4chan. We don't know what's going on in there. Second off, everybody who was a regular in there and was anonymous or was a moderator immediately said, do not post this kind of stuff in here. We don't want this kind of stuff in there. And so it doesn't matter what happened, but there was an article brought about by her on her blog that then said, this horrible stuff happened to me. That is what started the response in Gawker and a slew of about 15 or 16 different, and over the course of 2 days, websites doing posts about how gamers are terrible, gamers shouldn't exist, gaming is dead, and then there was actually a very famous one called Gaming is Dead, and that was what it was
all
about.
Within 48 hours.
And so that's what he's talking about. Is that
and
there
that
was
was
this
before
response.
People knew about Game Journal Pros. Game Journal Pros comes out with Nero saying, hey, by the way, all these people who produce these articles that you guys are like vehemently against because it's pretty much saying that you guys are worthless. Was all talked about before in a YouTube or a Google group, Game Journal Pros, by those very same game journalists. They were talking about it. They were trying to head off the Twitter, hashtag that was bringing to light their unethical standards.
And that's when a lot of the doxing continued, right?
Well,
when Brianna Wu and all that other
on
people.
doxing,
when they talk about it, like they come out and they say, like, yeah, we've a lot of those things saying, like, no, this isn't the gamer community as a whole. We don't condone this or anything like that. And then somebody else, and then Brianna Wu comes out and says, hey, look, this has happened to me before. Every time I talk about this shit, I get doxed, I get death threats, I get rape threats. And then what happens? And then it happens to her again, and it keeps happening, and just crazy amounts of discrimination.
On the topic,
even reading the moderate shit on, and you look like you look down upon it, but even the moderate shit that was posted on the Zoe Quinn article on Crack, it was the most crazy shit I've ever seen in my life. Just so much vitriol and so much anger being posted just about her saying, like, hey, look, I had some bad experiences. Here it is. It wasn't even that flammable of inflammatory of an article. But Jesus, I think they've probably gotten more comments on that article than any article that they've ever done.
I didn't read the Cracked article because I don't.
Have you read any of Zoe Quinn's actual blog posts from her blog?
No. No. Only referenced ones.
Have you read Brianna Wu's post on what? I can't remember what website it was.
I read archived tweets and things like that from Zoe Quinn, or not Zoe Quinn, but yeah, Brianna Wu and Zoe Quinn and Nina Sarkeesian. Primarily because I don't want to go to a website that's clickbait. Okay, so primarily I don't go to websites that promote or give advertisement or money or numbers to people like in the thing. So I use archive stuff. So if it's not found by somebody, I usually don't find it
Zoe
myself.
Quinn's blog is a Tumblr blog. There's no anything. So those posts are open for.
No, I haven't been to Zoe Quinn's, and again, whether or not I have looked at the other side of it is another topic. But I have seen from their own words things like, this Twitter post from Zoe Quinn that specifically asks Anita Sarkeesian to promote the hashtag No Women No AC. So.
Is that about the
Assassin's Creed.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I remember
So
now.
basically, she's starting a hashtag boycotting Assassin's Creed until they include women.
So, explain to me, and you can take this off. Sorry, why is that a problem?
Because it is an agenda being pushed onto a consumer product that should only be dictated by the market. If the market wants women in AC, then that should be the case.
Well,
But the thing is-
aren't they consumers?
Women do want women in video games.
Right, and they do have women in video games. They have women developers in video games. There's an entire...
Women developers make up 3 to 13% of people.
Here's an entire article on women developers that says, I'm a Middle Eastern game developer. There is no misogyny in development. The only people that have a problem with like that kind of sexism and misogyny and are on the outside looking in.
Are minorities?
No. This is a woman developer. She's a minority.
She's saying that there's no
Or
misogyny that exists in the gaming industry.
She's not
That's a
in the
pretty. That's it.
And
It's very racially pure.
I would say I think that a larger point that they usually get into is not that there is no misogyny, but there isn't any more misogyny in gaming than there is in anything else.
I can understand if you guys know about the reason that they said, I'm not 100% sure if it's actually true or not, but they said the reason that they didn't include women in Assassin's Creed multiplayer is because they would have technically had to load a male body and a female body at the same time for the different screens that we're showing.
I
It
think
would be, yeah.
one thing about the Assassin's Creed multiplayer that's important to know before we go on is that the main reason that they didn't include female is because when you are playing multiplayer, no matter what, you are Arno. Essentially, is how it works. Like you always play as him, no matter what, and everybody that sees the screen plays as him. So they kind of were like, I guess it doesn't really matter because no matter what, you're playing as him.
They've moved AC Unity into the Watch Dogs multiplayer. So it's seamless. So you're playing the game, and then seamlessly people come into your game. So the point of what they're saying is that, well, now we can't play a women character. Well, okay, you can't play a women character because it was written entirely with a male character.
But see,
we would have to rewrite
Watch Dogs,
the entire
females can come into your multiplayer game still.
right, but then the player is still seeing the male watchdog character.
It's important to note too that there has actually been a female main character in the Assassin's Creed
in the series, and so they do have women coming in from this AC Unity, saying as those multiplayer, but that's not the core player.
So I've never played the game, as we discussed before. Is this an actual multiplayer that you're playing, or is it played like through the single player campaign?
It's multiplayer, yeah.
AC Unity is supposed to be seamless. You're playing the story, and then multiplayer happens.
It's designed that essentially no matter what you're doing, you're continuing the story of Arno, whether it's the main quest or multiplayer.
Okay.
I think we got a little bit off topic, but since you're on the side...
Well, it was on the topic because we're explaining why AC, no women, no AC is a bad idea. It's a...
I still don't think. Well, I don't see why it's a bad idea though.
Because
because they wrote it like this, they can. How hard is it to throw in a couple like a female character in there so that you have the option of playing a female character?
It would be rewriting the story.
So what? Rewrite the story then.
In a game that's already post production.
So what?
World of Warcraft did it.
Dude, how much money are they about to make off of that game?
I think
you guys don't know anything about development, maybe.
I don't care. I don't care about your workload. This is the consumer saying. It's still consumers saying that we want women characters in these games so that we can actually have somebody that we identify.
A consumer minority, not a consumer majority. A consumer majority.
A
is
consumer
gamers.
minorities are the ones who get everything pushed through.
Not
All the
necessarily.
time. All the time. There wouldn't be any rights for anybody but white people if minorities weren't pushing for right to get rights.
Except,
Minorities, that's why
With
it's
the
called
exception that
vocal
those
minority.
majorities had
Vocal
to
minority
vote.
gets shit done.
See.
The majority is fine with the way things are.
All right, sure. Okay, so in the aspect of the whole, Gamergate debacle, I would have to say that there are always going to be people who have issues. Okay, so and I was going to come onto this 2 points. First point, doxing. Doxing is bad. I don't have a problem. I have a problem with it. It's harassment.
Bad and wrong.
It's bad
You
and
can
wrong.
say it's
fine,
wrong.
but majority of the doxing has been personal information that's public knowledge, public realm already. It's public information that just somebody puts on the board to say, hey, by the way, this is public information. Here's some
I'm not
like
sure
their address
that
and phone
their
number.
address,
Right.
phone number, tax information, etc. is public information.
I said a large majority of the has been specifically for like Felicia Day. Felicia Day was just her address. Okay, that's just doxing. That is public information. One of the screenshots, there was 2 instances of doxing for Felicia Day. One was completely erased, eradicated. There's no proof of that it actually happened. It just somebody said it happened. The other one had a screenshot, and the screenshot was, by the way, this is public knowledge. That's all it was. Okay,
But why
So-
was it posted in the first place?
It was because people are retards,
Okay.
especially on the internet.
So they posted it specifically to hurt that
But
person.
both times they were
Except
posted.
our viewers.
Right.
Except our viewers.
Both postings of this video of this stuff. One was a person who we're on forums or on comment sections that were moderated. This post was allowed through moderation.
Okay, so say that you are famous, you have a pretty strong follower base, and you posted something such as the opinions that you're expressing today, and then feminists take your information and post them for, I don't know, your stalkers, the people who want
And
to
that has been done
kill you,
a
the people
lot.
who want to rape you.
That has been
Being
done a
a
lot.
woman in-
JonTron, Total Biscuit, Shoe on Head, Milo, Christina H. Summers. Everybody in Gamergate that's a big Adam Baldwin. Everybody that's in Gamergate that's a big thing has been doxxed. Milo has a syringe filled with some random element
Yeah, but we
sent to
can
him.
go on and on and say okay, well these people have been wronged way more than these people, and these people have been wronged way more than these people.
Okay.
It honestly doesn't matter. My point, and again, I want to just iterate that I am not against gamers. I'm a gamer. I'll always identify
all
myself
gamers
as a
here.
gamer. I don't think
And we're
gamers are
game
inherently
consumers.
bad. Look at Child's Play. That's a great charity, and it's all
Extra
made
Life.
by gamers. Extra
Right.
Life.
And we're
Great-
game
great
consumers.
things.
So when
But these you built your entire movement off of a misogynistic, jilted boyfriend post. That's where it ultimately came from. And you can't get rid of that history. If you want to say, like, there isn't a problem with ethics and gaming journalism, okay, that's a reasonable thing. But don't saddle it to this hateful thing.
I think that when people found the Zoe Quinn's boyfriend post and the journalism integrity thing and like mashed them together, it was a really bad. It was a really negative result for everything, because now they have all this negativity associated with integral journalism that shouldn't be there, and they also have people sending death threats to women that also should not be there.
okay.
So
One of the points is death threats to women. One of the points is, the negativity behind it. The death threats to women is by far one of the major constraints of this thing.
So let me ask, and I feel like maybe we're getting into a little bit of a circle here.
Right.
And I'm sorry to jump in, but I wanted to go on to this. So directly into what he said, which is there might be something there. It could be a great point. It could not be a great point. What do you say in response to the idea that they should just abandon the Gamergate hashtag and pick something else and say, look, we're gonna create something that's not related to this and let people go? And how does that turn into the idea that, frankly, one of the issues with internet movements in general is that you can't control them. Historical movements have membership. If people show up and they were doing the Million Man March, they were physically there. They could be have their names. They could be arrested. They could be shown. We know who was physically there. They couldn't disappear out of nowhere. But anybody, can take something like a hashtag and just say, "Hey, I'm in this movement or I'm not." So how do you respond to somebody who supports Gamergate when the idea should really be, how can we make the point better than we are right now?
You guys know what Trendly is?
I missed that word. Would you mind repeating?
Trendly.
Trendly.
It follows Twitter trend hashtags. Okay, so it you give it a day period and a day period, and you say blah blah blah. Give me the how many tweets per day. So there are images online from Gamergate pro Gamergate people that have, from when Gamergate started to today, all of the trend or all of the trend data on Gamergate. Okay, and it's a recurring thing. One of the most important ones is that you can actually put 2 lines on there. One line is Gamergate. The next line is Gamergate minus feminist frequency. Brianna Wu, Zoe Quinn, all this other stuff. Okay, anything related to the sexism in Gamergate, and you see a red line at the top and a blue line right underneath of it. The conversation that is actually happening in Gamergate is not about this. Majority of the time, the million a day tweets on Gamergate are, this is a bad thing, we should email them and tell them about it. The Sam Biffle incident, the other incidents. On a regular basis, people talk about completely other things not related to the sexism in Gamergate.
Maybe I'm being insensitive here to Gamergaters, but it doesn't fucking matter at this point, man.
Right.
The Gamergate hashtag is connected to Brianna Wu, to Felicia fucking Day. That's honestly, that makes me more mad than anything else. I don't know who Brianna Wu is.
And again, trying to finish my statement on in the Felicia
Day. She just posts one thing, says, "Hey man, like this kind of makes me a little feel bad about the whole thing." And then what happens? She gets doxxed immediately within 2 hours
by Internet Aristocat and Gamergator. You have people who are intentionally putting the tag, the tag and people involved, saying, "Hey, by the way, I'm going to dox, or I'm going to give out this information so everybody else can blow up about it." It's trolls or other social justice warriors coming out and saying, "Hey, here's I'm going to dox it."
The same way you feel about neckbeards is the same way I feel about social justice warriors. Okay, it's just it's a title used to demean or put down anybody who tries to speak up.
Okay.
You get accused of being a white knight. You get accused of being a social justice
warrior. I remember the topic that I forgot before. One of the posts in early September by Kotaku or Kama Sutra by one of these game journals was the top 10 games of this week. Right? The top 10 games were, blah 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 blah. Went down line. The third one on the list was Gone Home. Do you know anything about Gone Home?
I don't know about Gone Home.
You know anything about Gone Home? Anybody? Gone Home?
Yep.
What's Gone Home?
Basically, you're coming home from college, you're a girl, and your entire house is empty, and you're essentially solving the mystery of where your family is, where your sister is, and all that. And it's kind of like
that's right. Okay, I do
it's
know
like it's like a story-driven game. There's no gameplay really. It's just kind of point and click almost, but
like
free roaming. Yeah, something like that, or like The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, which just came out, kind of like that.
The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, by the way, should have gotten that award for most beautiful game or whatever it was.
Yeah, that game too. That
Seriously,
game is absolutely.
I was trying to look it up.
Besides the point.
Anyway, so what was the most beautiful? Oh, Assassin's Creed, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, Vanishing. No, okay. So no context, right? So the Gone Home is, I believe, and I don't know. It ends with you being. I don't know specifically about Gone Home, but I do know that it has lesbians and transgender and some other things in it. Okay, I don't have a problem with that, but it was purported to be a game that people should buy because it was better. It was awesome. Even though people who had played it reviewed it and said it's not a story for teenagers, it's not a story for young men, 10 or 11 years old. It's not something that people want to play, and it's not a game because it didn't have a lot of game mechanics to it.
Who said that?
The reviewers, the people on Steam who reviewed the game after they had played it.
Okay.
Okay, so these had nothing. They were just people that had nothing to do with the Gamergate thing, and this was far before Gamergate. And then you have game journalists saying this is number 3 on the list of games that you should play.
So
It's pushing an agenda. It's telling people that they should buy and play games that aren't games. B, they don't have
I don't necessarily
value to
think
them.
that it's not a game if it has
Well,
any sort
then
of
that's another
game
question
mechanics.
about art and game and everything else.
Well, I mean, can you play as a character? Do you click on things? I mean,
No, yeah, it's definitely because I played it. I would definitely class because you have to like search for notes and find clues and put puzzle pieces together and solve a problem. So I mean,
I think we could say that Myst is one of the most forming games that we've ever played. But if you held it to that standard, it's not a fun game either.
Right.
But it's a game.
It's a game, and
It's made with the intention of being a game. In if we're going to use commenters, then the same people who are purportedly pro gamer
Either way.
saying all these fucking fucked up things. It's the same thing.
either way, it got a rating far above what it
Just
should have.
because
Yeah.
you don't like that something.
I have
got
the ratings
better
pulled
reviews.
up if you want to hear them.
Yeah.
Basically, Metacritic gave it an 86 out of 100. IGN gave it a 9.5. Financial Post gave it a 10. Eurogamer gave it a 6 out of 10. Edge gave it 9 out of 10. So overwhelming, it's pretty. And on September 11th, the release day, they sold 50,000 copies, and by February 7th, it had sold 250,000.
I think that kind of speaks more volumes about the game itself. I don't necessarily think it doesn't deserve its place on
Whether or
the
not
list.
it's sold it is the other thing. Okay, again, people buy the game because somebody told them it was awesome.
Yeah.
Then they played it. Then they said, no, this game is not awesome. That's the problem.
But more than one place said that it was awesome. So maybe it's just
Game
those
journals.
specific-
14 game journalist sites came out with the death of gamers within 48 hours. This is Gamergate in itself. More than one site promoting and giving ratings to a game
sounds
that shouldn't got.
It's
have
just
gotten.
conspiracies. It's conspiracy theory. We're all in it together. There's the Jewish conspiracy. There's the Zionist conspiracy.
It seems
there's
like we
the-
got back
the
onto
gay agenda and
this,
everything like
this
that.
talking about where it goes. I don't want to get too far off topic about like where the hurt feelings are, what's conspiracy. I think you could make a good argument for that either side of it is a conspiracy theory, but it doesn't change the fact that we're where we are right now. Where do we go from here? And I still don't feel like you've addressed
One
the
of the-
question.
okay, so the
which
question
was, hold
of-
on.
yeah.
I don't feel like you've addressed the question. Is why not just abandon Gamergate? I don't care how many people are doing it a day, and why not just abandon Gamergate? A and B. Why not stop using hashtags as a medium to discuss something like that, to decide who the membership of a movement is, when it's obvious that you can't control that properly in a medium such as the internet.
Okay, so why don't we? The answer to the why don't we change it is because it goes in lines with the second question. Gamergate is not a movement; it's a consumer revolt. It's basically just telling people where to boycott, what to do, how to talk. Don't harass this person. Don't dox this person. Don't do this. Please do this. If you look at any of the Kotaku interactions, sticky posts in Reddit, all of it talks about that. Okay, it's this is the core of what Gamergate is. Stop getting sidetracked. The reason why Gamergate shouldn't be picked up is because one of the best images that I've ever picked up from Gamergate was a Tumblr post, and she's like, "So let me tell you here. Let me get this straight. You're telling gamers who have been beaten and abused and slogged through Dark Souls and all this other stuff to give up because it's something to that effect." And it was, and then it posted a picture of somebody, I don't want to ruin his name, anyways, who was like, "Good luck," right? So it was funny, and it was insightful, and it basically went on to the point of.
So I haven't followed what you're
Gamers
saying,
are-
but that's
Gamers don't give up. So Gamergate
that's great.
should not give
But
up.
why not change the hashtag?
Don't give up.
Because everything
It has-
associated with Gamergate has become a negative thing connected to
Not
misogyny.
everything. Again, if you look at the trends,
But
it's not
but,
everything.
but
It's
that's
10%
not how
of
it's
what-
that's not how it's perceived.
That's
at
not
this point.
It's been
That's
diluted.
not-
It's been shot down.
That's
been,
not what's happened when anybody speaks out against Gamergate. If they say like, "Man, I don't think this is a good thing that we should be saddling ourselves to," they get doxxed.
They get. Gosh, quite
Okay,
literally.
doxing is bad, but you're still connected to these people.
No, quite literally, immediately after every point in time or immediately after the one image of Felicia Day being doxxed, it was, get this off this is bad, get this, what are you doing?
But it still happened.
It still happened because people
they-
are intentionally muddying the waters.
Because it's a consumer revolt. So is wanting more diversity in video games. That's consumers. Saying that, no, video games are perfect the way they are,
And,
white,
okay, so
and
who-
all male, then that's perfect.
You
And
got
some
the
people saying like no,
Who made
I think
Burruel?
there should be, dude, just because there's a few games out there that have female protagonists doesn't mean that there isn't a problem over a whole.
It was written by a female.
Let's look at how many games out there feature white male protagonists, and then compare that to the the games that have been written by a female
They're
that
selling
have
to a
a female
demographic.
protagonist. Let's compare
It's the
both
market.
sides, and I'm pretty sure. I'm going to go out on a limb here. It's going to be pretty heavily weighed
They're
towards that
selling
white
to a
male.
demographic. It's the market.
So when women
What
or minorities
demographic?
say like we would like to see a little bit more diversity in our games, and everybody's like, "Fuck you! You're promoting an agenda. You're pushing us forward."
Yeah.
How is that not a consumer?
In regard to market, 48% of gamers in the United States are women. In addition, women 18 or older make up 36% of gamers, and boys that are 18 or younger only make 17%.
And then but
That's
it's
a
still heavily
gamer.
skewed towards that white male.
No. That's gamer. They're including people who play Candy Crush.
That's still playing a
They're
video
still
game.
gamers.
Still gamers.
They are. They count.
All right, we're not going to do that.
If it's
We'll do
Because
that.
I will
Next
go off
week
all
on the
day,
Dirty Old
so
Gamers
we can talk about
podcast.
the definition of a gamer later and why the ESA stats are crazy, but we
I
can
would
talk
love to
about it
talk
another
about
time.
that. I'd love to.
So I think we've come to a place where maybe this is a good time to kind of wrap it up a little bit. So I'm gonna, he doesn't think so.
What? No, I'm good.
Okay. Say, if we need to have another session about this, we can. I think everybody should take away from this, and then we can come back to it and have a discussion another day if we need to. But we do want to not go on for 6 hours. So I'm going to swap out with you. We're going to close this.
Wait, Aaron. First,
I have to.
friends forever.
All right, I appreciate you taking the time to come out, by the way.
Yeah.
That's a lot. All right, get back in here, Terry. I can't close the show without you.
So that was Smooch. That was a lot of really heavy stuff. Me even in the corner. I'm sorry I jumped in a couple of times. I try not to do that, to take things over. I think it's important that hey.
That's the thumbnail right there.
So I think next week we might take some of the stuff we learned from this discussion and talk a little bit about those. I think there were some good points that were brought up. I just asked Terry over in the corner what we thought we should talk about next week. So some of the things like implications of women in gaming, what some of the actual stats are, what a gamer are, those are some of the things we'd like to hit up. So maybe we'll talk about some of that next week. I would say stay tuned. But I think that's going to be all for the rest of today. We're all sweating in this room and getting gross, and just focus here. That's why she's around, because she's smart and pretty, and we're all gross. So I guess that's going to be it. So I appreciate everybody this week, and hopefully we'll see you again next week. And thanks for coming along and seeing the 3 Old Gamers.
Adios.